fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Well, at long last, we return to Green Flag TV. In the first 25 years of its life, the Long Beach Street Circuit has seen many changes to its layout, finally settling into the formation we all know and love at the turn of the century. Throughout those first 25 years, the FIA Formula One World Championship would hold many a Grand Prix with events from 1976 to 1983. While the pinnacle rung on the motorsport ladder may have long since departed, the street circuit remains ever prominent, hosting other high-profile series. The most notable of these is, of course, the NTT IndyCar Series, but along with that, it also hosts the Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship on an annual basis. Today, it will not be the open-wheelers, but the GTs and the prototypes that will set the streets of California alight as we roll into Race 2 of the VSCA Sports Car Championship. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Green Flag TV. My name is Ola Rampo, once again ready as ever to bring you all of the coverage here tonight, this time in the MV Skinlab Grand Prix of Long Beach. It's going to be a long and a hard-fought race here tonight. There's a lot to talk about in the few minutes leading up to racing action here in this one. We will, of course, look to kick things off with the current championship standings here, entering race number 2 of the season. After Daytona, Mayor Simsby Performance in GTP sits on the top with 461 points. HAC Racing trailing by 2 with Trading Paints already over 50 points out, down in the number 3 spot. So MSP looking for some good momentum to keep their roll forward as they continue to push away in towards the second race of this long season-long championship. Into LMP2, it is Gowan Racing, of course, taking that win by a few seconds over Fisher Motorsports at Daytona in the 24-hour as Gowan Racing sits above with 446 points. But it's a much smaller gap back to Fisher Motorsports in that number 2 spot. So the battle right now sitting less than 10 at the LMP2 point standings. No doubt it is going to be a tough race for all the drivers involved. It was a very fireworks-filled race in GT Pro right at the end with the 2 leaders coming together at the tail end of things, and it ended up being Kinetic Racing to come out on top of all the rest, putting DS Racing Esports Team and Race Tech Competition both down and out with the point standings after they fell. But again, the gap not by much, only 11 separates number 1 from number 2, and DS Racing Esports Team with a lot to prove here tonight. They're going to be looking for good competition over here tonight at the streets of Long Beach. And that leaves, last but not least, GTM here in this one to close out the point standings. Screechy Moose Motorsports pretty much dominated the GTM category all throughout the 24 hours of Daytona. They did get involved in a wreck throughout the night portions. They lost that front clip. Got it put up, though, after they collided with, I think it was the MSP GTP in the backstretch chicane. They bounced back. They won by several seconds as well. A tight battle for that final position and the final class win of the Daytona 24 as well. They sit over 50 points clear of Digital Chicane's number 93. Digital Chicane was looking set to be one of the main contenders for the win. Of course, they crashed themselves with only a few hours left to go in that backstretch chicane. Bounced back with a safety car, but not enough to be able to get that win. They are also going to be looking for some tough runs here tonight. We whirl, of course, into the. I think tonight it's going to be a wild, wild race, right? 1 hour and 40 minutes. Sprint racing, start to finish. It's bound to throw up some absolutely phenomenal stuff. The big news of all, though, is the start zone. We're not using that traditional start zone where you just go off of that final hairpin. This is the start zone that VSCA has lined up for us here this afternoon. This is just for the initial start. Any restarts will see the traditional start zone. But you see, the initial start zone starts at the start-finish line and extends all the way around to that first intersection for Pine Avenue. And that is where we're going to be seeing a lot of these drivers making those starts here tonight. So there's a lot of work to do for a lot of these drivers to get themselves in full racing action. And it's going to be a mad sprint down to turn number 1. The reason for extending that start zone, to give this pack a better chance at doubling up to go to Green Flag Racing proper. With that all said and done, though, we've got ourselves with qualifying getting itself sorted. So let's take a rundown here of what your starting grid is going to look like as we get set to duke it out for an hour and 40 minutes around the streets of California. Nicholas Johnson for Composite Performance starts on the pole for GTP, with Patrick Rawl down in the number 2 spot for Fisher Motorsports. World of Sim Racing teams Alvaro Martinez starts in 3rd with HJC Racing in 4th. DS Racing Esports team with Stop and Go Racing are on row number 3. Row 4 holds Trading Paints Racing and DS Racing Esports team, Mayor SimSpeed Performance, and Grizzly Motorsports down on row number 5. Team Hardcore, Torque Freak Racing will round out the GTP field. Only 12 cars compared to the 15 that we saw at the 24 Hours of Daytona. Moving on into LMP2, Rising Panda Racing's on the pole with GSC Racing Esports in 2nd. Tri-State Racing Fisher Motorsports in 3rd and 4th. FRI SimSports Scours SS Racing 5th and 6th. From there, it's Majors Garage, Fusion SimSports, Vice Motorsport, Tri-State Garage, VRG Sport, Gowan Racing, and Rookie Esports to round out the 12-car LMP2 field here tonight. In GT Pro, it is GSC Racing Esports starting on the pole. They were big, contending for the win just about a month ago at Daytona. They are looking to bounce back and see if this time they can secure the top step of the podium. Race tech competition down to the number 2 spot. Race for Cat Motorsports will be in 3rd with RPM Racing in 4th, Kinetic Racing in 5th. The current points leaders entering this race, Fisher Motorsports, is in 6th. The other Fisher Motorsport entry is in 7th with World of Sim Racing team in 8th. Continuing on through, it is North Sim Racing, DS Racing Esports team, Texas Speed Sim Racing rounding out 11th and 12th. 2 new contenders down on the back row. They will be looking to see if what they can do in their first starts here in VSCA. MSP starts on the pole for GTM with Vulture Motorsports down into the number 2 spot. Majors Garage Fusion SimSport will start in 3rd with Firestore Motorsport in 4th. Digital Chicane is in 5th, along with the last race's winner, Screechy Moose Motorsports in 6th, driven by Lucas Santos. MMTQ Racing is 7th, with Real Pixel Motorsport in 8th. From there, Vulture Motorsport, Full Send Racing, Training Paints Racing, MSP, Dangler Performance, Digital Chicane, and off in the SS Racing bring up the tail end of the field. So that is it then for us. Everybody lined up and ready to go, and none too soon as the field starting to roll out. It is going to be a hard-fought race for all drivers involved as we look set to duke it out for this hour and 40 minutes. Remember, it's a long way to wait for that restart zone all the way down and around on the front straightaway. They're going to go single file for the most part through here, where they probably get themselves doubled up and set for that start zone. We're happy that you're joining us here on this beautiful Saturday morning. As we work into the start zone, we will ignore the initial green flag. As the rest of the pack just catching up at the tail end. LMP2 still trying to close up the gap, but the GTP's into the start zone. And an early launch for Johnston. We are officially off, and green flag racing in Long Beach. Johnson gets away clear for Composite Performance, trying to see if he can secure that move. Down to the turn number 1, a bit of argy-bargy going on to the back, almost a bit of 3 wide, can't do that. And the rest of the pack going to siphon their way through turn number 1, all clean and green so far. Really great start overall. It's working the founder section for the first time. Oh, a bit of a stack up and a big contact towards the tail end of the field, and that's going to create problems at the tail end. But we'll focus now on the GT field as your GT pros working to the restart zone, and it's the pair of Audis that take it to the green. Kevin Mueller in a charge, back down to turn number 1, this time by as the second pack kicks off. There you see the GTPs filing onto Pine Avenue, bottom of your screen, while on the top down Shoreline Drive into Toyota. Kevin Mueller pulls clear for GT Pro. Mark Stevenson leading the way right now in GTM for the Fusion SimSport number 296. Once again, looking to all settle. Oh, we got one Ferrari that's stopped, and with big troubles with tail in the field. That's Timo van Gemmert at the moment for MMTQ Racing. That has gone around. Unfortunate news for him, and he is going to be in a world of hurt now. As we will try to get a look back on what happened here to Van Gemmert here. This is coming out of turn number 1 and entering the fountain section. He is going to just pull out a bit wide, and got a bit of help from one of the GT Pro BMW, spins that machine around, but overall, could have been a lot worse. Johnson leads lap number 1 to green. Start to funnel this race out. Racing action is kicked off in earnest at Long Beach. In GTP, Alvaro Martinez for World of Sim Racing trying to hang on against HAC Racing, Stop and Go Racing, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Running a line astern as it stands. one by one, drivers continue to gradually pick up more and more pace. It's an intense start to this race, as street circuit racing so often is. Jan-Philipp Weid was forced to start this race from pit road, is now working his way up through the GT field, trying to make some kind of progress. Look at like one of the that is one of the Trading Paints racing cars. Lost their front clip in all of that early race carnage of the 119 Ferrari. Going to be impacted pretty heavily from that. The good news is, while this track does value aerodynamics, it is not a race ender. If you have damage like that, there will be time to get that damage repaired when you get down into pit road. But still, not a good start for Tyler Tucker for the TPP racing crew, as he's going to be trying to get himself with some good momentum firing onto Seaside Way. Up the road in LMP2, Luca Harmoning trying to hang on against Michael Adamczyk for Fisher Motorsports, or Adamczyk for Fisher Motorsports, down in the number 4 spot. FR Sim Sports just hanging on to the tail end of this one, as well as Fisher going to look for the inside into Firestone. Dives with the inside. That's a brave lunge to the 14. Trying to carry that one the long way around the Indy left. And Adamczyk not able to make that lunge, as he'll look into the final hairpin and punch his way back out to the front straightaway. Battle for the class lead in LMP2 is on as well. Thomas Marcelino catching Ryan Ware pretty quickly here. So Tri-State Racing trying to make a look around Rising Panda. Ducks to the right-hand side. Side by side into Toyota. But the 46 hangs on for one more corner. Good stuff from the LMP2 and GT Pro categories, but a lot of action going on in your GTP fields, well, in your GTM fields, I should say. There's a lot of guys that are trying to get some momentum going for themselves. Keita Bommersbach has gone around, it looks like. He is down to 12th place overall. This is with the Trading Paints Racing GTP. He's going to loop it up and over the rise and just spin the 19 car out. Overall, though, could have been a heck of a lot worse, so good news for him. And now Sean Hatfield going around. That is at the Indy left, and watch the rejoin, as he is going to be put in a bit of a bad spot. He's down to 6th place now in class. Coming through Firestone in towards the Indy left. Reaching Moose Motorsports just ahead, but he will lose that one all by himself. And, woo, how's that for a good save, keeping that car off the outside wall. Alvaro Martinez making a very early trip into pit road, and they have lost the rear wing entirely on that machine. So World of Sim Racing team having some pretty hefty problems at the moment for their car. So what in the world has happened here to Alvaro Martinez? We'll see if we can track that down in just a few moments. Right now, though, a lot of this, and into the wall will go the 6th place runner in your LMP2 category. That was, I think, so that was the number 6 car that went into the barriers there. That was Neil Middleton for 23 Racing that just went in hot, turning out onto Seaside Way. Goodness gracious. It's chaotic racing, as it so often is over here at Long Beach. Especially when you get to multi-class racing. Jean-Philippe Weid working his way up through the field as he's going to get around both Fisher Motorsports Porsches. The FM drivers did not have a good run over at Daytona. Try as they might, they were just swamped with bad news everywhere they went. They got caught out by the Scours LMP2, having technical problems and flaking it right in front of them. Then they had a hardware failure on that backstretch as well. One of their cars going full throttle through the backstretch chicane and slamming into the outside wall. They're both hoping for a better run, and they run nose to tail as it stands in that 6th place in your GT Pro field. So far, looking like a strong pairing here, so we could see these guys get a pretty good momentum run going. The AC23 Racing just got around one of the GT Pros just behind, so TFR, after nosing into the barriers not too long ago, continuing on their recovery drive. Now already you can see a lot of lap traffic coming into play here. And one of the big things that it was mentioned is, in fact, Patrick Rawl has spun around, in fact. That was your 2nd place runner in your GTP field. So Patrick Rawl going around. We'll look at this for just a second, and then we'll get back to what I was mentioning earlier about lap traffic. But getting on the binders, try to locked it up, went it way too hot, but took the wise move there on keeping it out of the barriers. Kind of going back to it, right? I mean, it was mentioned in the driver's meeting about how difficult getting around lap traffic is here. So it was mentioned to every driver, right? It's up to both classes, both the overtaking drivers and those that are trying to do the passing, to facilitate that pass. It was mentioned, be mindful of how much time the guy behind you is going to be losing. Try to make it a little bit easier to prevent a lot of lap traffic issues that was seen the last time this series raced at Long Beach. For the most part so far, they're doing just a fine job on keeping things sorted for now. Looking back to the LMP2 field, a big look to the inside of one of the GTM Mercedes. This is a three-way battle for the number 5 spot. Scours SS Racing, FR Sim Sports, Fusion Sim Sport. Oh, hard hit into the wall just behind as multiple cars involved. Vice Motorsports was one of those that just slammed into the barriers, and that Mercedes as well. Oh, and another big crash, and that is that's a bad spot to be stopped. Jeff Yeager getting involved as well. Goodness gracious, it is getting hectic here in a hurry as there was a lot of trouble, and Yo9 going to be forced to take the shortcut into pit road. Yikes, what is going on in the early goings here? Let's take a look back if we can. It kind of started around Jim McGill. The yellow flag is out. We have our first full safety car period of the afternoon. So Jim McGill for technical performance here. This is a long way back, right? So we're taking a look at the first incident here. Jim McGill just, he's going to overshoot here, I think. And yeah, he sure did. And they got rode over by the Vice Motorsports LMP2. That caused him to lose that rear wing. So that car's got no rear downforce now. So then coming into the Firestone turn, just went way too hot, slammed the barriers and collected a huge mess of LMP2s. Was forced to take the tow. Well, bad news bears for everyone all around as Nicholas Johnston will pick up the iRacing safety car. I wanted to bet there's going to be a lot of wave rounds here because Kevin Mueller was one of the only GT pros that had not yet been overtaken by your overall GTP leaders. So this will be a pretty lengthy safety car as well. Gosh, that was a huge hit there for quite a few drivers, and that is not, to say that's not ideal would be putting it mildly. I'm going to see if we can get a look on board with the Vice Motorsports LMP2, and we can see what he saw throughout all of that mess. Not pleasant for Anthony Dring as, we'll back it up a little bit further than that as we have, of course, some time here. So this is it's a little ways back, but we'll be able to get a good eye on this. Get a good look on how this whole mess played out. So right here, big check up there for the GTM as he's just trying to make the corner and locked it up for sure, but that was just to try to keep that car from slamming into the tire barriers. See, Vice Motorsports now has damage. That car is crabbing a bit, and then right here, just out of left field, nowhere to go. That's a clumsy series of corners for sure, and that's not how a lot of drivers wanted to kick this off. We have our first safety car period. Now, of course, we do want to mention that these safety car periods are randomized for the most part, but there is some discretion between race control to determine if a safety car is warranted for an incident, particularly one that caused a track blockage. Some incidents that could come to mind, of course, would be, for example, a big track blockage at the end of the final hairpin. But I'm not thinking that is entirely what happened here. I think that may very well have been admin thrown just because of how collected all that was and how soon it was after the incident. There is some argument to speak to a correlation there, but obviously it's one of those things that will go a mystery, and all we can do is really speculate. Well, while we have this time here under the iRacing safety car for the MV Skinlab Grand Prix of Long Beach, want to, of course, take the time to thank the main sponsor of the series here for this 2024 campaign, and that will, of course, be Twinbush USA, your expert for automotive workshop equipment located in North Las Vegas, Nevada. Visit them today or find them online at twinbush.com. Quality that convinces. Kind of resetting how the field looks. Nicholas Johnson for Composite Performance still remains with the overall lead in GTP. Thomas Marcelino for Tri-State Racing. Oh, whoa! Never mind. Crash under the safety car. The 017 has gone around, so Vulture Motorsports having some big troubles, and that has caused nothing short of a parking lot down at the tail end of the field. And the trading paint machine of Bombersbach got collected in that. That has allowed this field to go now. How has this happened now? Just when you think we're going to have ourselves with some time to breathe, no. So Bombersbach in the trading paints GTP is catching the tail end of the pacing line. And, oh, a big stack up, and the GT Pro behind just could not avoid, and that causes the entire pack now to stack up. I'm curious who that was. I believe that, I'm not sure who that was. It was one of the Porsches. We know that for a fact. Could that, it wasn't the BMW, so it was not Gavin Demuth who was into pit road. Trying to look through to see if we can pick out. It may have been Vitor Miranda for DS Racing Esports team. I think it was. Right on board with Miranda. There's the tail end. I don't think he was paying attention, and that, of course, knocked the Trading Paints Racing GTP into the Ferrari, the 017, who had, frankly, nothing to do with that. Well, I mentioned Long Beach has its challenges, and that continues to ring true even under safety car periods, as there's never a spot of no entertainment. I'm at a loss for that one. I truly am. I mean, it's pretty hard to wreck under the safety car, but I mean, we did have a couple of safety car crashes in the Daytona 24, but none that were already in the pacing line. You think you've seen it all, and then something. I thought I'm about to get another hit into the tire barriers there coming onto Seaside Way. We are under caution for the first time tonight. 1 hour and 23 minutes are left. Waiver rounds are currently underway. We're going to take a step back, and we will be back in short order. You are watching the MV Skinlab Grand Prix of Long Beach for the VACA Sports Car Championship on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV. Lights are out aboard the iRacing safety car. We will be going Green Flag Racing this time by. I want to give a big shout out to the VSCA admin team. They have done an absolutely phenomenal job on streamlining this whole process to make sure that we can get as much racing action in as physically possible. They have done a fantastic job of that. I remember at the Roar we had a safety car like this and it lasted 40 minutes. This one lasting only about 10. Nicholas Johnson for Composite Performance. High does it off the final quarter. Green flag is out. We are racing once again. As he hightails it down towards turn number 1. A big separation throughout this field, looking back even to the GTMs, and a lot of them still working their way out of that final corner, really showing just how big that spread is. Johnson is broken clear right now. Kevin Mueller having to give up some positions to a few of these prototypes, trying to get as many of them out of the way down Shoreline Drive as he can to make sure that he's not going to be put under a lot of pressure when we get into the corners here. And Mark Stevenson has gone around. The Fusion Simsport 296 Ferrari, the class leader, is off. And he's going to get himself right in and just behind the Lamborghini of Wolfgang Wildenauer. For Real Pixel Motorsports now going to be spun around. He'll be forced to back that car up and make a three-point turn. There's a very wide turning radius of these cars. You can't just flick spin, so he's going to be stranded there for a very long time trying to make this work. This is Mark Stevenson going around, and this is on the approach. Up over one of the narrow sections of the racetrack, just took too much curb and then spun that car off. And oh, he did back it into the wall. That's a hard hit for the 296 with a lot of downforce to be lost. And here comes Wildenauer. Makes the same mistake, too much curb, and spins it around, even at the same tire tracks, although lucky enough not to back that car into the wall and lose some downforce with it. So just some smoked tires and some hurt feelings, but otherwise will be fully sorted. Ryan Steinhoff from Air Simpson Performance has lost that front clip. That was from the lap 1 Constantina into the fountain section. still managing that damage as best as he can. And then, of course, the actual battle, the chicane of Ultra Motorsports, Screech and Moose Motorsports, all in the mix. And the battle for the number 2 spot. Trouble for Dring, Luca Harmoning, and Andrea Lacoya. So potential collisions here between GT Pro and LMP2 run as hard of the race for Vice Motorsports. In too hot, loops the back end into the barriers and spins it around, and then sure enough, 2 more cars being spun out wide. Talk about a tough break for a few of these drivers, as not what Lacoya needed to have happen to his afternoon, as we'll take a look from above. Down to the turn 1, he's going to loop that all by himself. Then watch right here, the LMP2 checks up and just gets run over by the Porsche. Nowhere to go, and that creates a bit of a track blockage, but they're able to get themselves sorted without losing too much time. And now Thomas Mork with big damage. So another one of the GTPs, stop and go racing this time, and he's already lost that rear wing. And just lose the back end again, back into the wall. So he had a prior incident that caused that rear wing to fall off of that car. That brings us back to the battle for second in GT Pro, that is hot and heavy right now. Race for Cat Motorsport in their first start of the season, trying to keep kinetic, RPM, and race tech competition all at bay. And all of these guys trying to get around some GTM traffic there, as Race for Cat going to dive down the inside of, well, I think the GT Pro race that dive down the inside of one of the digital chicane Ferraris, and oh, that's a bad place, a bit of argy-bargy, and the Audi trying to mix some speed, going to end up being forced to yield. How about the battle for the overall race lead kicking off? Oh, and in too hot will go Johnston. Composite Performance with a big mistake. He's forced to back it out, and that will put HAC Racing now onto the point with DS Racing Esports team in hot pursuit. So a pair of Cadillacs will lead the way as Composite Performance goes in too hot into Firestone. Locked that thing up big time. And will drop all the way down to 5th. Now 9-10 seconds back. Got a bit of a battle here for LMP2 as well. This for Ford. Gowan Racing going for the over-under into the hairpin, trying to get around Tri-State. Garrett Spence can he keep Jack Hedgecox behind. Hedgecox with momentum all the way down Shoreline Drive. Trying to outlast into turn number 1. Hedgecox round the outside, and then 1 will make the pass. Put Gowan Racing up into the number 4 spot. Good show for him. This car, of course, taking the W in your LMP2 field down to the 24 Hours of Daytona back in January. See if he can gun for a podium, but 6 seconds up the road, not impossible, but going to be a challenge for sure. The fight for, whoa, well, there we go. I was just about to mention, how about the battle for 4th picking up, but that's going to die out as quickly as it came up, as Stefan Jacobson in the Audi going to get spun off, and he's going to connect with that tire barrier. And again, this is dangerous to be doing the 3-point turn, but it looks like he's got someone to work with as a Porsche arrives late on scene. That's Andrea Lacoya. Now, did he have help with this, or was this all by himself? 55 gonna go for it, and all he did, tried to go up the inside of a digital chicane Ferrari, and well, it goes wrong. scrap it out for third, and whoa, boy, a huge lunge for Nicholas Johnston. Gets into fourth as he will bring around Grizzly Motorsports, and just behind, Fisher Motorsports and Mayor Simsby Performance going at it side by side. Patrick Rawle to the inside. He'll pick off Jason Burney. Got the Tri-State LMP2 just behind these guys as well. Still leading the way in the LMP2 category. And uh-oh, Tamir Albaga. Oh, hard into the wall for the MSP Mercedes. Trying to get it going, tried to flick spin it, and well, that didn't go the way he was hoping for. I'm thinking he took too much curve on this one. It's been a big mistake for a lot of drivers today, especially in the GT field, and sure enough, oh, that digital chicane Ferrari did a phenomenal job to miss him. Right on board with Paolo Calvo for digital chicane here. Pretty close call, a quick tap of the brakes, and gets himself rolling. So this is your battle for the lead in your GTM field. Digital chicane hanging on against Vulture Motorsports, Screech Boost Motorsports, and Firestorm Motorsport. All in the four-car train, separated by a second and a half down to turn one. All the while, the weather starting to dip with that sun towards the horizon. We are currently sitting at 4:31 p.m. in sim time. The sun sets relatively early here in this one. And, whoa, we got trouble. Oh, big trouble. Look out, look out. That is Mart Freisha and Tyler Tucker that have both gone around, and there is big damage to both cars. Jason Ahrensberg as well has gone around. Take a look back real quick, and this is with Tucker we're following. Oh, up the road there was contact, and then yikes! Oh, ouch! A hard hit for the MSP LMP2. One more time, this is where all of this came about, as this is approaching the narrow section of the racetrack. Oh, he just lost the back end himself. I thought maybe got some help from the Mercedes. He did not. And then watch here as the Fisher LMP2 comes in completely unsighted. And that is going to force Adamczyk into pit road. And look at the hornet's nest that this has caused. There's a whole mess of traffic trying to sort their way through. I think for the most part they'll be able to make this work. But boy, is that ever a tight run. Jack Hexcost getting around Rain DeBoer for the third place in LMP2, and that was courtesy of a big checkup. And that was, in fact, part of the checkup caused by the traffic damage in that big collision. And for third, DS Racing, still trying to keep Composite Performance at bay. Whoa, blocking way down to the right. Composite back to the left as Thomas Moore trying to get around Johnson. Contact between the two. Round the outside of the Firestone, contact again. And this time, Johnston forces the issue. Moore cutting back to the inside. Who's going to hang on to this one? Contact again for a third time. And this time, Johnston forces his way by. What a battle there. That was some good stuff as Nicholas Johns gets his way through. I don't think Thomas Moore are too happy with that. Trying to get back to him. And now with some MSP Mercedes traffic that is damaging the way, lunging for the inside. And again, a pinch for the 15. These guys are going to wreck each other. There's no way they're going to make this work. Splitting the traffic. 3 wide contact again. And this time they're both locking up into hot. And again, Composite hangs on. DS Racing dropping back. This racing is getting real dirty real quick. That was working through Takade turn. Good grief. I think finally we're going to see a lull in the dogfighting. Talk about a slugfest. You would have thought this was the final lap of how they were going at it. Show anything, I think that frustration from earlier that Nicholas Johnston has and that desperation to try and make up lost time. You don't know if another safety car is going to come in and shake things up after all. You got to make those moves where you can. Holy cow. Looking back to GT Pro, this is the scrap for third. Manuel Mayer trying to get up after RPM Racing. Headed up by Tom Cachetto. Cachetto? This 911 car, remember, is one of the drivers that was fighting for the lead in GT Pro, and then on the, with I think it was 2 laps to go or the final lap, came together with the DS Racing Esports crew and ended up spinning himself out after a huge dive bomb into the International Horseshoe in what was one of the most epic battles I've seen in a long time for a GT win. Working on a redemption arc here tonight after going from hero to zero, and now so far doing a decent job, up 6 positions and running in third in your GT Pro category. So not expecting too much to change here for the time being. Second place is about 1 second up the road, steadily closing in. That's Vincent L'Herbier for the Kinetic Racing crew. So we will keep tabs on this battle, and we'll check in again if it ends up getting too much closer. On the GTP battle, Scott Meredith trying to keep Patrick Rawle at bay. They've got the Screech Boost Motorsports GTM car right in front of them. It's a tight battle as well, and one that could very much be impacted by lap traffic. So dive onto the binders for that final hairpin, and the Digital Chicane Ferrari going to take the smart play, get out of the way, and in fact, Paolo Calvo going to duck into pit road, so the GT class leader bailing out of this one as he's going to be down into pit road. Fights on as well for the LMP2 race leaders as they just went side by side. Ryan Ware for Rising Panda Racing making the move to get around Thomas Marcelino. And then Neil Middleton going to get by the lot of them. Oh, never mind, and a hard hit for Middleton as he's going to slam into the barrier. Breaks up that battle pretty much instantly. Take a look first on, well, here's the incident, and there was already an LMP or a GTP car that was already spun and stopped. Right on board with Ryan Ware. He was the driver that was arriving up on scene. So sorry, we'll look at Thomas Mord. As approaching turn 1. Into hot. Slams the barriers, then here comes the rest. And yikes, just a bad place overall to be stopped. So put Middleton for Torque Creek Racing down and out, and that's going to break up the battle for the LMP2 class leaders as well. Again, just when you think it's going well, it doesn't go so well after all. And all of these incidents have broken up a huge chunk of this field. More of your LMP2 field are right now down and out than actually racing. Right now, there's only 3 LMP2 cars that are actually right now on the lead lap that are on the racetrack. Over half the field is in pit road right now or out of the race altogether. This has been it's been a messy race so far for the LMP2 field, and I know I saw some sympathies going out to them in the PSCA YouTube live feed, and I have to agree. I mean, they've been bullied around a lot this afternoon, and they will be no doubt looking to just try to survive at this point, to see if they can just pick off whatever is left. That's a big heartbreak for a lot of drivers, and I'm going to see if we can get a look back on the initial pass for the lead in LMP2 before all of that went so horrendously wrong. Right there, looking like just got a much better drive coming out of that final corner. And then Thomas Mork entering turn 1 is just going to go in way too hot. And then here comes everyone else in behind. Yikes. I mean, to be fair, the TFR car that you saw slam into the pit wall, he was going to go in there regardless if Thomas Mork was there or not. Looking up to the battle for the overall lead, Espadina trying to keep Christophe Demay at bay. 1.5 seconds separate first and second place. That will quickly extend to 2 seconds plus as Demay getting held up by the MSP Mercedes. Have not checked in on our GTM leaders for a little while yet. This is Justin Delano for Vulture Motorsports. They had a very up and down race as well at Daytona, and they're trying to keep Lucas Santos at bay, but Screechy Moose, they're not ones to be denied. Santos, of course, drove that car to victory last month at the World Center of Racing. It'll be a big challenge for Delano to keep these guys behind, but so far, just controlling this race in GTM, not taking too many unnecessary risks. And in fact, Santos going to let by one of the GT Pro Audis. The World of Sim Racing BMW is down in its pit road. There's a lot of damage on a lot of cars. I don't think there's a single car right now on the racetrack that is completely clean. Checking into the fight for 5th. Overall, Grizzly and Fisher ready to do battle again, and they're catching a GT Pro Porsche at a very misopportune time. And that will let Fisher close right in. Could we see a look? Oh, he's going to clip the wall, and that's going to force Scott Meredith wide. Daniel Gruber is showing that he's had a problem, and there was a bumper that you saw on the right-hand side of the track, so a crash coming in through Takade turn. Oh, collides with the Full Send Racing Mercedes, and oh, he's going to get hit here. Yep, there it is. The digital chicane Ferrari that just came into pit road gets into Gruber and sends him on his way. At least it took him around the right direction, but I know that's not ideal with what he was hoping for. So this battle for 5th in your GTB field will continue on. There's a lot of lap traffic up the road that these guys are going to have to work with, and I am willing to bet we are not going to be seeing a whole lot of time for this fight to breathe. Less than an hour remaining in the shortest race of the season. It is the only points-paying race that is an hour and 40 minutes long. Tell you what, Scott Meredith doing a phenomenal job right now on making good use out of this traffic, keeping Patrick Rawl behind. Making sure that Rawl never truly has the place to make it work. And sure enough, using that MSP Mercedes as a pick beautifully, and that's going to trap Rawl even further behind. This battle going to quickly extend from about, what was that? What was that there? About like the 2 tenths of a second down to 1.2. Perfect timing then. We can check in on GT Pro. Haven't looked at your faster of the 2 GT classes. There goes Race to Competition, trying to look for the inside on DS Racing Esports team off against it. And well, as we say that, a battle for the lead. DS Racing trying to fend off HAC. And that is approaching Seaside Way. Take a look back as Christophe DeMay managed to make a look for the lead, but Pedro Espadina hangs on just barely. So a big sneak attack there from HAC. Did not expect for them to close up to DS Racing as quickly as they did. Hey, good show though, I'm here for it. Then you got this GT Pro battle as well between DS Racing and Racetech. Racetech Audi trying to close up to the DS Porsche. Stefan Jakobsen really hounding the back of Vitor Miranda. Manuel Myers in the pit road for the number 2 spot. Putting this now the battle for 3rd. Good show as we work through the fountain section, and have not seen too much for these guys to be too concerned about. It's just been good, hard racing in the GT Pro battle. I've not seen too much in the way of underhanded moves. There was a bit of that in GTP earlier on, if you'll remember, just about, what, 15 minutes ago. So this little scrap going to continue to rage for 3rd and 4th. Nicholas Johnson from Composite Performance is on a charge right now. Just set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:10.38. That is over a 10th quicker than the next fastest lap set by Christopher DeMay for HAC Racing near the start of this race. This 15 car is absolutely hauling right now, trying to catch up and make whatever spots he can muster. Oh, there's a launch to the inside. Racetech trying to pick off DS Racing, but no move. Could not hang on through the fountain section. Gives a shot to the shorts. Jakobsen now pressuring the back end of Vitor Miranda as they work towards the up towards Pine Avenue. That lovely Audi scream chasing down the buzzing Porsche. Has the overlap, backs out. Can he get the run in towards Firestone down Seaside Way? Thomas Moore from DS Racing Esports and GTP's in the pit road. There's a look to the inside. Jakobsen going for 3rd. He's in hot. And here comes Miranda fighting back through Indy left. A decisive move, though, will put the Audi up into 3rd. Beautiful overtake to the inside for Jakobsen as he will pick off Vitor Miranda. Good show. Good show. GTM also has a bit of a close battle. We saw this Lamborghini have problems early in this race, took too much curb. Real Pixel Motorsport trying to keep digital chicane, well, one of the digital chicane cars behind. That's Matthew Moravec that sits behind the 312. Sim Racing GTP will blitz past, and this is a bit of a fierce scrap for 8th, and it's not the only fight either. We've also got full send off in the S that's about to do battle for 4th. It's a pretty mixed bag of cars right now for this pack, but so far a lot of these guys are making fairly good time. Monitor this fight for 4th for the time being, as once again, well, what, 52 minutes now left to go, and this race has, I think, finally calmed itself. There's a lot of chaos in the early going, but hey, good show. Right now, I do want to point something out. Kevin Mueller, as it stands, yes, he's in the lead for GT Pro, but I don't think that's quite as big as some people realize right now. I'll get to that in a moment, as Luca Harmoning and Pedro Espadina having a coming together potentially. He's down to the turn 1. Oh, locks it up, goes in deep, as did Espadina. They both went in too hot, and I think Espadina, in fact, may very well have found the barriers. Right on board with your former race leader in GTP, now relegated to 2nd. That is all the hallmarks of target fixation. They both made the exact same mistake and just kept that thing out of the wall. Going back to my earlier point, though, Kevin Mueller, the GSC Racing Esports Audi, runs in the lead, yes, but the overall positions, right now that Audi runs in 12th. That doesn't sound like much, but consider this, that car started in 24th overall. There were 12 cars in GTP and LMP2. So Kevin Mueller right now running 12th overall. That really goes to show just how huge the attrition has been all throughout both prototype fields. And in fact, the GT Pro field as well has taken a big knock. I mean, only 3 cars on the lead lap as it stands. Jason Burney will duck into pit road right at the halfway mark. We are approaching that limit for drive time, right, where you have to meet that minimum requirement. So right around this point in time, it's not a bad idea to come down to pit road, get your second driver in the car, and quickly get back out onto the racetrack. One of the overall battles for position is between the 4th place runner in GT Pro and the 1st place runner in GTM, which is an ever constant battle that these guys are having to work with. Justin Lana right now, I don't think is in too much danger, but he does have to be wary, because while this is all looking well and good for now, you also have got the 2nd place runner, Screech and Boost Motorsports, sitting only 1 second behind. So Milano might have to make quick work here of this GT Pro, or find something to get him out of the way. Maybe take a pit strategy call here, because Lucas Santos is charging, and he's not going to be held at bay for long. All the while, the battle for 3rd in your GTP field still has gone nowhere. Grizzly Motorsports and Fisher Motorsports still separated by half a second, give or take. Fluctuating a little bit, kind of depending on the run. They got a lot of clean air in front of them, though. Some lap traffic up the road, but not too much. They should be able to kind of take it a bit easy here for the next little while, which I am almost positive is absolutely fantastic news for them. We are over halfway home. in the first sprint race here of the season. Well, the first proper points paint sprint race of the season. So far, only one safety car coming at about an hour and 25 minutes to go, roughly 15 minutes in. Possibly admin thrown for a really big stack up that occurred at the Firestone turn involving numerous classes. And well, now this is not good news for Grizzly as he has caught the hornet's nest of lap traffic. So far making good work of this lap traffic, but sooner or later that hammer's going to drop and we're going to be seeing Patrick Rawl right up the rear wing of Meredith. Although I think that full 7 BMW going to make it a little easier for Grizzly to get some breathing room. Benjamin Fisher, fresh into the number 84, has had this crash in the final hairpin. Oh, just in too deep and forced to stop. Kind of had to right himself before getting back to it. Oh, that's not an ideal rejoin, though. Cuts off the 9/11th of Tom Schetto. Now, they were not racing for position, but still, it's not a pleasant feeling to have your nose chopped like that. Justin Delano. Talked about him having to worry about Lucas Santos starting to reel that gap into GTM for the race lead. Well, there Santos is. Right up the gearbox of the 017 Ferrari, and that 67 Kinetic Racing Porsche still in the way. For Santos, now it is just a question as to when's he going to make the move. Does he take a pit call or does he opt to just kind of gun it and see what happens? Can't wait around forever. These races do fly by in a hurry. Ian Campbell not making this very easy for these GTMs to duke it out, but I mean, hey, there's no rule that says he has to get out of the way, especially when you're a faster class, right? So that's right now the big issue that Delano is having to struggle with, and this is, it's not something malicious or anything, right? This is just a product of multi-class sports car racing, especially at a very tight, narrow street circuit. Christoph Gergely Bakos in the LMP2 field has gone around, and this is with one of the Ferraris. This is FRI Sim Sports. They were already several laps down, running 10th place and 47th overall. Just locks it up and goes it deep. Kind of got a bit stuck, had to back up and reverse around. And Philip Forrester going to hop into the Screeching Moose Motorsports car. Lucas Santos decided to go for the undercut. So Santos out, Forrester in. All the while now, well, the Kinetic Racing cars, now with a lot more traffic to have to worry about. A lot of GT Pros and LMP2s working their way by. Jack Hedgecox showing that he has had an incident on the racetrack. Oh, this is approaching turn one. I'm willing to bet locks in deep, where it's going to be a high-speed slam into the wall. Yep, into hot, and he's going to take that one to the escape road. I do like the fact that so many of these drivers are opting to bail into the escape road as opposed to slamming the wall. It prevents yourself from becoming too much of a hazard. It saves your car. It's better to lose a few seconds than to actually put yourself fully down and out of the race. Delano into pit road, this time by Let's take a look at the track map down to the bottom left. The number 5, that is that's Philip Forrester at the moment for Screeching Moose Motorsports. And the 017 is now Errol Eriksoy for Vulture Motorsports. Forrester trying to work his way up and around. Forrester trying to see if he can't catch up and potentially make an overtake for the race lead, but already we see Vulture Motorsports working his way out of the pit road, but Forrester now to the front stretch, and it's a long way to go still. This could get tight between the two. Forrester closing in. Approaching turn 1. There's Screeching Moose in the background. They will not get there. Eriksoy gets out first. And now Real Pixel Motorsport having another problem for their Lamborghini entry as Wolfgang Wildenauer spinning around to the Firestone turn potentially. In too deep, and in fact, trouble for Vulture Motorsports. Vulture's around. Eriksoy fresh into the car. He has spun the machine, and he is now going to be down and out. Stall to the exit. Look out as Tortured Racing having to scramble to get around. Screeching Moose, look out for... Oh, good Lord. Oh, my gosh. Okay, we've escaped disaster, but only just. Whew. Talk about a heart stopper. This is Eriksoy spinning around and having a shocker of a rejoin attempt. Nearly wiping out 2 different cars. It's a phenomenal heads-up driving from a few of those guys there to get around that mess. Jonathan Dance then having this problem for TFR. They had just avoided a crash before. And just went in too hot. Oh, we have a car in the fountain itself. That is Mikel Dezua at the moment for MMTQ. And I think he might be beached. He was. Forced to tow. Well, that's an unusual sight to see. And oh, got some help from Screeching Moose and a high-speed spin. Slammed into the wall. Take a ride on board here with Screeching Moose Motorsports as they sent a Ferrari off right there. Youch. Just checked up a bit more than I think they were expecting. HAC Racing is the next car in, and now a lot of these guys are in now because they have to meet those minimum drive time requirements, remember. So that's why a lot of these guys are pitting now, almost an hour after the safety car period. So HAC and Grizzly are both into pit road. DS Race will pick up the race lead. Matthew Rutan hops into the car, as does Alex Penn. I believe the minimum drive time is 40 minutes per driver. Cannot cross that threshold. Some drivers did indeed get disqualified from the reward before the 24 for that very infraction. Have not checked in on the LMP2 field in too long. Josh Gowan continuing to hang on against Scours SS Racing and Tri-State Racing. Only 3 cars still on the lead lap in LMP2. Everybody else has been down to the pits once, if not several times, for damage repairs. Marco Pereira just a few laps ago having an issue in the World of Sim Racing 151 BMW. And I'm willing to bet too hot into the hairpin. Oh, no, a big Constantina effect. And that takes off the Torque-Free Racing GTP's rear wing. Selena Ward into the pits. Taking the number 5 entry down and in for pit service here. With 38 minutes to go, hopping into the car. Kind of going back, though, to your LMP2 field. I mentioned it's been a bit. Oh, whoa, whoa, hello. Okay. Big trouble, and caution is out. Safety car deployed for the second time tonight with less than 40 minutes to go. Ronald Gross and Nicholas Peterson both going around, and this is Ronald Gross's one of his first laps in the real Pixel car. Just got into the car, as did Nicholas Peterson. Too much curb again. Whoa! Oh, and some airtime there. And holy cow, who the heck was that in the LMP2 that just managed to escape that disaster? Talk about a close shave. That's just unfortunate there for the 312 as he ended up going around. Locks it down on the binders, and then that LMP2 car did a phenomenal job to get around that. That is the 86, I think. GC Racing Esports, it sure is. Right on board with him. This is going to be a wild ride on board with Christopher Settel. Or Seftel, excuse me. A little bit of contact, but did a good job overall on escaping that with at least minimal damage. I'll call that a good save. Well, now if drivers have not yet pitted, they want to make that final pit stop. Now would be the time to do it with 36 minutes left on the clock. But since a lot of drivers just came down, I'm not expecting to see a whole lot of folks coming into pit road. Well, while we again have this time here under this second safety car period of the night, want to once again give a big shout out and say that this broadcast is brought to you by Twin Bush USA, your expert for automotive workshop equipment. Located in North Las Vegas, Nevada. Visit them today or find them online at twinbush.com. Quality that convinces. Safety car is out for the second time tonight. Wave rounds and pit stops will no doubt be ensuing before too long. We're going to jump back, and we'll be with you for the remainder of these 35 minutes for the MV Skinlab Grand Prix of Long Beach in the VSEA Sports Car Championship.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Still under the second safety car period of the night, working down Seaside Way with just a half hour left to go in this sprint race here tonight in the VSCA Sports Car Championship. The sun is continuing to set over Long Beach, California. Track temperatures down to 20 degrees Celsius. It is now almost 7:15. I don't expect us to be racing under full darkness by the end of this race, although we will be pretty close to it. Some of the headlights starting to flick on aboard these cars as the iRacing scripts prepare for nighttime. Taking a quick rundown through the field as it stands in this race. You've got right now Pedro Espadina leading the way in your GTP field. Matthew Ruta for HAC Racing is in second. They are the only two cars now that remain on the lead lap. Grizzly Motorsports is down and into pit road. Everybody else is at least one lap down. Fisher Motorsports, Team Hardcore, DS Racing Esports team are all still on the racetrack, running third through sixth, several laps down. Believe only to be one as of right now. Patrick Fogel for Composite Performance is down into pit road as of right now, getting damages repaired. So is Mayor SimSpeed Performance. Tri-State Racing in the number 11 spot is in the pit road as well, but World of Sim Racing team and Stop and Go Racing both on the racetrack, picking up whatever spots they can get from drivers dropping out. Torque Freak Racing runs in 12th. They are the last place runners in your GTP field, although they are still on the racetrack. In LMP2, Josh Gowan for Gowan Racing still leading the way ahead of Scowers SS Racing. Tell you what, it's been a good day for Kyle Granger and the Scowers crew. They had a bad afternoon at the 24 Hours of Daytona, found themselves with multiple technical problems and multiple serious incidents. So far, they've kept that car, relatively clean, and they now run into the number 2 spot. Gowan plus 10 in the afternoon. Tri-State Racing currently closes out third, with then the 4th place runner, Avanta Drink, down in the number 4 spot. Rising Panda Racing sits in 5th. Andy Banfield is down to the number 6 spot for VRG Sport. And that 66 car has seen better days. It is multiple laps down, as is Fisher Motorsports. Tri-State Racing, Majors Garage, both their Fusion Simsport cars running 9th at the moment, and then of course in 12th as well in GTM. FRS Simsports are in 10th, JC Racing and Rookie Esports close out the field. Kevin Mueller runs in the lead at the moment for your GT Pro field, as we still have the lights aboard the iRacing safety car, but the Audi leads the way in your GT Pro category. Tom Sachetto for RPM Racing sits in the number 2 spot with Race Tech Competition back in 3rd. For RPM, it's been a pretty good afternoon, although they are sitting right now several positions behind and now 9 seconds off of Mueller. So they are going to be looking for some more improvements if they want to get themselves with the race win here tonight. Fisher Motorsport, one of the Fisher Motorsport cars, sits in the number 4 spot, a lap off of the class leaders. DS Racing is in 5th, World Sim Racing 6th. MSP sits in, North Sim Racing sits in 7th, with Kinetic Racing in 8th. Texas Speed Sim Racing is 9th, with Fisher Motorsports, the other car, down in 10th. The other Texas Speed car sits in 11th, with Race for Cat Motorsports in 12th. Close out the GT Pro field. And then, of course, as it was in Daytona, the biggest class of the afternoon, GTM, headed up by Tamara Albaga from Mayor SimSpeed Performance. I tell you what, it caught me out a little bit seeing this car in the class lead. Pit stops are underway. They just opened pit road as well, so we are, I think, going to see some change-ups over here in the running order. But Albaga currently leading the way. Forster, Orvech, Avery, and Garone round out the top 5. And they're all going to come into pit road, so we'll run down to GTM field once this is all said and done, because there's a lot of cars right now that are making their way into pit road, including the GTP class leader. The GT Pro leaders are in pit road as well. Only one GTM car, I believe, is in. That would be Timur Albaga, so they will lose the class lead in GTM. Kind of getting back to it then, it is now Screeching Moose back into the lead of the race. That's a car that we are used to seeing in the lead, and we'll see it in the lead once more. Matthew Orvech for Digital Chicane have bounced back a lot after their struggles at Daytona. They now run at the number 2 spot. Firestorm Motorsport sits in 3rd, Buffy the Essex Racing in 4th. Full Send is in 5th with MSP in 6th now. Aaron Beaver has hopped back into the number 34. Belgian Motorsports has had a few struggles today. They sit in 7th place. Thomas Baker for MSP just leaving pit road. Ronald Gross still in the pits as well. They just came down into pit road for the Real Pixel Motorsport Lamborghini. Belgian Motorsports' other entry, the 016 Ferrari, is in 10th. Digital Chicane's other entry, the Ferrari, rounds it out in 11th, with then Majors Garage Fusions, SimSport, MMTQ, Trading Paints, and Dangler Performance to close out the field. So this is where your new GTP leaders sit, and that puts it with Josh Gowan in LMP2 set to lead us to the green flag with now less than 30 minutes to go. Now this is going to get wild. It's always a wild ride seeing not the fastest class leading the way, but hey, I'm all for wild. It keeps it entertained, and it makes sure that I'm able to put on a good show for all of you guys, as we will be looking to hopefully go green next time, unless, you know what, no, it might be... No, it looks like it might be one more. I think they still have to do their second round of wave buys as well. They do 2 rounds of wave buys. They do the first one right after the safety car is first deployed to get all the lap cars behind their class leaders. Then they do another one once all the pit stops are complete to repeat the process. And then they go green flag racing from there. So looking like we will be in for one more. And how about that? The 21 of Josh Pascal Arnold is back into pit road for GC Racing Esports, and he's going to take it a handful as well. So more cars into pit road. 4th and 5th in LMP2 are in. 2nd place in GTP are in. So Ricardo Santos takes his car back into pit road. Rat Crouch, Simone Rohr, Husam are into pit road as well. Patrick Fogel, Baker, Dring, Gross, along with others. And these, okay, that is to organize them at the tail end of their fields. Now again, that is not uncommon. Instead of doing end of the longest line penalties to sort the field, they just have them go down pit road, slow up, and filter to the back of the line. Makes it really easy, streamlines that whole process. It saves usually at least a lap, possibly more in drivers trying to make their way in towards the back of the field. That is one of the last steps before we go green flag racing, so we are expecting for that shoe to drop this next time by. Lights remain on for now, but they are usually manually extinguished by race control once everything is sorted and good to go. They do put usually about 50 laps or so on the pacing time, which allows for them to not have to constantly worry about extending it one by one and potentially forgetting, and then we go back green. Every lap that ticks by, though, is 2.5 minutes less racing time these guys have, and it only drives that anticipation up more and more as you wait and wait and wait for that green flag to finally drop once again. Looking like we will be going at least one more lap before we get to green flag racing. I do hope you've all enjoyed our show on Green Flag TV. I know usually we would be getting an additional person in the broadcast. We'd be able to kind of fire back and forth a little bit under these safety car periods, but. As things happen, right, personal plans always tend to get in the way, and a lot of folks, they're busy with the Real World Daytona 500. Most of my regular crew are actually down in Florida right now watching the race weekend, I guess. So you get me. I'm too poor to go to the 500, so I did not make the trip down to Florida. But, hey, I get to call sports car racing, and it's been an absolutely fantastic race, and we are in for a wild show to close things out. And if you're one for wild shows, well, then be sure to subscribe to Green Flag TV. We got shows almost every single night of the week. OMSRL Truck Series and the Beer League are both kicking off again this coming week at Charlotte and Long Beach, respectively. Speed Tires Plus Cup Series had a really exciting season opener with a photo finish. They will be having their second race at Atlanta Motor Speedway this coming Thursday. LTAC Cup Series has their penultimate race at Dover Motor Speedway on Friday. And then, of course, I believe we will have the ASRL Next Gen Cup Series back on Talladega this next coming Sunday night as well, next week. Among with others, the next race for VSCA itself is going to be an endurance race, as they are going to be set to roll into their second longest race of the season. We have the 24 Hours of Daytona. It will be the 12 Hours of Sebring. That will be on March 23rd. That's a huge weekend for racing on Green Flag TV. Not only do we get the 12 Hours of Sebring on the Saturday morning, but then on Sunday morning, we get to welcome our first ever IndyCar race to the fold, as the Classic IndyCar Series will be making their debut on Green Flag TV for their 10th anniversary season. It's a long wait, but I can guarantee you it's going to be worth it. And for Sebring, Ryan Walker is going to be in the broadcast booth with me. Did a phenomenal job covering some of the night hours at Daytona. Lorenzo Bond will be back in the booth. Austin Edstrom will be back to finish out the race. Final set of wave-by is being conducted now. We're getting down to the wire here. I mean, we're going to be about what? I'm thinking maybe 10 laps to go when we go to Green Flag racing at this rate. We're hitting about 2.5 minutes under caution, and roughly about a minute 12 to minute 20. Minute 12 to minute 22 when we're under green flag conditions. So there's not a lot of time left in this race, and This is definitely the longer of the two cautions because of all the pit stops that did take place. It takes that little bit of extra time to sort through the field, make sure everything is ready to go. So it's an extensive safety car procedure, but it is far streamlined compared to what it was like at the Roar, where you had that 40 minutes of pacing behind the safety car. We're still about on par, so not too much surprise in the way of that. Still waiting for those lights to extinguish, which will hopefully be this time or the next time. I don't think it'll be this time by. We still got a lot of cars being waved around here, but anticipated the next time by. To give you an idea of how many cars being waved around, take a look at the track map, bottom right of your screen. Look at all those cars that are currently being waved around the pacing line, trying to catch up to the tail end right now. And some of those guys are still being waved around and coming through this pack as well. So it is completely disconjointed right now. There is a lot of cars stacked up all throughout the course of this field. It's a process, but I think it's definitely worth it. I mean, these safety cars, they take a little bit, yes, but it honestly, man, I mean, it is honestly wild to me about how different these races pan out. I mean, one of the big criticisms I've seen with a lot of the iRacing officials is the lack of iRacing safety cars. And while, yes, they can be a nuisance to deal with on a road course, it makes things so much more interesting. The 24 Hours of Daytona was non-stop action from start to finish because of those safety cars. Had it not been that, I am willing to bet it would have just been, you get a strategy, you keep with it, right? You don't alter it the entire way through. The race would have been a snooze fest by the end because so many cars would have dropped out, because when you crash, there's no chance on getting yourself back. But because the VSC admins, they give everybody that's a lap down one lap back, it keeps that incentive to keep it on the racetrack. For Daytona, 48 cars started that race. Only 2 didn't cross the checkered flag at the end. That is incredible by road racing standards. Lights are finally extinguished aboard the iRacing safety car. We will go green flag racing this time by with just over 10 minutes to go. Well, you wanted a sprint race, you got a sprint race. This is the sprint of the sprint. It'll be Josh Gowan for Gowan Racing who will lead this field back to green. The driver, the number 18, Dallara P217, LMP2. Right in front of Matthew Rutten for HAC Racing. 11 minutes and 20 seconds when this green flag drops out of the final corner. Safety car is off. Early jump on the loud pedal. We are back to green flag racing for less than 10 laps to go. The whole pack siphoning its way down and in towards turn number 1. Watch the battle for second at GT Pro. Husum trying to look to the inside of Crouch. RPM. Can they fend off race tech competition? The answer is no. The Audi round the inside of turn 1. He'll pick them off into the fountain section. Race tech competition on a charge. They got their star driver in the car. Simone Husum charging now after John Pascal Arnold 4 seconds up the road. Got the scrap for oh, look out! Into hot will go Alex Penn. Overshoots Firestone for Grizzly Motorsports. Penn drops back and out. And that is a long way to wait now. Look at all the traffic he's got to let through before he can even think about getting going again because of how disastrous that could be, blending right into traffic. That's such a heartbreaker for them. That effectively kills any chance they had at winning this race. Oh, whoa, hello, a big stack up as Bruno Carrera dropping out. Marco Pereira will get through. Take a look at this as Marco Pereira got around the outside of Bruno Carrera. And this 3 left to the final hairpin. A big checkup, and that BMW just went for it. I mean, hey, fair play, he picked up the spot. If it works, it works. In GTM, a 3-way scrap for 4th. Michael Garone for Off the SS Racing, trying to keep David Slider for Full Send Racing, and Aaron Beaver for MSP behind. 9 minutes on the clock. Battles are still thick over here on the racetrack as everybody just trying to muster whatever kind of speed they could get. Thomas D'Ambrosio getting around Aiden Campbell. And Nicholas Peterson getting around the both of them in the MSP GTP. Around the outside, oh, contact between the two Porsches at the slowest point on the circuit. Oh, once again reminded me that while, yes, I'm not a fan of most street circuit races, Long Beach continues to hold a very special place in my heart. The battle for 7th is on. North Sim Racing and Kinetic duking it out. There was a tail. 6/10 separate the two. Traffic trying to get around the both. The lights have flicked on the headlights into the high beams, illuminating the road surface. A GTP ducking through for Grizzly Motorsports will break up the dogfight. And don't forget this battle for 4th in GTM as well. As, uh-oh, we've got trouble as Ronald Gross has gone around along with a few drivers. Nicholas Peterson is into pit road. Oh dear, big troubles for the MSP number 3. They are now going to be down and out of the race. Zachary Lovelace, Timo Van Gemmert, and Ronald Gross all coming together as well. Coming off of Pine Avenue, the Seaside Way. Oh, right there, they just all stack it up and hard hits all around. Oh, come on, guys. I mean, it's not that hard to get a car rolling again. Communication, miscommunication. That's where the trouble's been for a lot of these folks here tonight. And Simon Roy Husum around again. This is the Race Tech Audi, the second place runner. Oh, he's been turned into the wall by one of the LMP2s. Trying to get around it again. Miscommunication. The moments later, Timo Van Gemmert having this big crash down to the turn one. Blocks it up, goes in too hot, will take to the runoff. And then Eberly Telmach will go around as well. Oh, that's a big cluster of cars. I'm getting nervous. There it is, up on the curb in a Firestone. Spins it out. Great job to keep that out of the wall, though. Back to live pictures 5 minutes to go. World of Sim Racing defending against DS Racing. As this dogfight will continue to rage on. The 992, one of the drivers that took the win last month at Daytona. Now just trying to see if he can clinch a top 5 after having a lot of troubles here tonight. Gemmert around again. And this time in too hot, in towards Firestone. The lack of rear downforce hurting that car big time, and they will be forced to take the tow to pit road. Connecticut North Sim Racing still knows the tail, and Aiden Campbell trying to go for the over-under. Oh, tried to go for the overlap, just could not get the nose in there. 4 minutes to go. Less than 5 laps to go in this race. Thomas D'Ambrosio and Aiden Campbell going side by side and hard on the brakes. The 6.9 gonna make contact, and Connecticut again getting into a door-to-door. Into the fountain section, and North Sim Racing and Thomas D'Ambrosio just barely able to keep it in front. Three minutes to go, and how about that? We've had a pass for second in your GT Pro field. Take a look at this as Brack Crouch gets around Husum here. This Race Tech just went in way too deep into Takate turn and let the 911 have it easily. Three minutes now to go. And the Mundell's battle for second is back. Race Tech back to the inside of RPM. Into the final hairpin. Contact, and around goes Race Tech. Spins the Audi in the final hairpin. 0-0 again for the Audis. What a tough break. Tried to go for a move in the one place you never can make it work. Never in my life have I seen an overtake work through the middle of the final hairpin. And we just saw why. Making this now a 3-horse race at the number 2 spot. Brack Crouch, Benjamin Fisher, Marco Pereira. Second, third, and fourth. All the while, you also got this battle for second and third kicking off. Thomas Martin and Ricardo Santos in your GTP field started to go at it. And they may very well be approaching the final lap of this race as well. Once again, just like at Daytona, it's going to be a very close call as to whether we take the 2 or the 1 to go signal here. Oh my gosh, hang on. That's a lot of GT Pro traffic in the fray there. Talk about a close shave, and looking like we will take 2 to go. Crouch trying to get back around Fisher. Fisher made the move into the final hairpin, somehow made it stick. Crouch is doing everything he can to try to keep these guys steady. Fisher pulling away with second in your GT Pro field. Talk about a close call. Goodness gracious. Take one more look at this one again, as this is all got hectic. Coming into the hairpin. Watch this. I mean, yikes. Just going for it all around. I mean, hey, 2 laps to go. You got to make those moves. Matthew Rutan on a charge. He will take 1 lap to go. The clock will expire, so we are now working the final lap. A lot of these battles still yet to be sorted. The fight for that number 2 spot will continue to rage on, but for now, Matthew Rutan with absolutely no competition anywhere will work his way into the final handful of corners. For the 111, they made their way up, quietly started this race in 4th, but it will be the 111 Cadillac to come through and win the MV Skinlab Grand Prix of Long Beach. Gowan Racing in the meantime dives in towards the final hairpin, and it will be Gowan Racing taking their 2nd win in a row. Winning at Daytona, winning at Long Beach as they pick it off for LMP2. Still a lot of battles yet to be decided. We'll look up to GTM at the moment as Philip Forrester for Screeching Moose Motorsports trying to keep Matthew Oravets at bay. He's got a good gap to make this work, just needs to hang on for a little while longer. It's Screeching Moose Motorsports will be able to lift that trophy high above their heads once more. Oravec gets the back bumper, he spins it out of the final corner, securing the deal. Forrester will drive Screeching Moose's Mercedes to a GTM win. And that just leaves John Pascal Arnold, who will take Audi's first win in the VSCA 2024 season, winning it all in GT Pro. Boy, what a wild race that was, and I did not anticipate that it would go down like that. That was about as crazy of a race as you could hope for. But gosh, that was an absolutely epic race as well. A lot of well-deserving racers crowned victors on the streets of California. So with all that said and done, let's take a rundown now of your official post-race results, well, unofficial post-race results here tonight. Started off with GTP, HAC Racing taking the W by 8 seconds over DS Racing Esports team. Fisher Motorsports will be in the number 3 spot to round out the podium. Team Hardcore is in 4th, GS Racing in 5th. Grizzly Motorsports was in 6th with Composite Performance in 7th. Mayer SimSpeed Performance was in 8th, with World of Sim Racing in 9th. Stop and Go in 10th. Trading Paints 11th, and Torque Freak Racing rounds out the top 12. In LMP2, it is Gowan Racing to take the win again by 8 seconds over Scours SS Racing. Tri-State Racing was in 3rd, with VRG Sport down in the number 4 position. Moving down through the field, Fisher Motorsports was in the number 5 spot, with Rising Panda Racing 9 laps down at 6th, with Tri-State Racing. Majors Garage, Fusion Sim Sport, FRS Sim Sports, GAC Racing Esports, Vice Motorsports, and Rookie Esports round out LMP2. In GT Pro, GAC Racing Esports takes the victory. They finished a lap ahead of Fisher and RPM. DS Racing was in 4th, with World of Sim Racing down in 5th. Kinetic finishes in 6th, with Race Tech Competition in 7th. North Sim Racing and Fisher Motorsports, Race for Cat Motorsports, and both Texas Speed Sim Racing cars finish out a 12-car field. And then once again, for the final time, the biggest class of the night, GTM. Screeching Moose Motorsports end up winning by 3 seconds after Digital Chicane spins it in the final hairpin. Firestorm was in 3rd, with Off of the Esses in 4th. Full Send with the top 5. Mayer SimSpeed finishes 6th and 7th, as both the last car in the lead lap and the first car lap down. Vulture Motorsports brings up 8th and 9th. Digital Chicane in 10th. Real Pixel in 11th. Major Garage, Fusion Sim Sport in 12th. Trading Paints, MMTQ, and Dangler Performance will round out the 15-car field. Well, goodness gracious, absolutely wild scenes here in this one, and we will get the chance here in just a second to talk to all of the drivers here at the end of the night. But what an absolutely phenomenal race we had overall. We are going to take one final step back, and we'll be back with your podium interview, with your class winner interviews in just a moment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the post-race show here at Long Beach. An absolutely wild race here tonight, and the two drivers that end up coming home to end it all out in GTP, Matthew Rutten and Christophe Demey, will take this one home. I tell you what, for the both of you, and I'll start with you, Matthew, you were the driver, of course, to take that car across the line. It was a hard-fought race, but you found yourself with a lot of clean air in those final 10 minutes. What was the thoughts, though, when that safety car came out? We're talking with less than 20 minutes to go.
I found myself doing a whole lot of yellow laps, but maintain the work that Chris did. I just had to not do anything stupid to keep it up. So Chris did all the work.
Well, I mean, he's going to throw the mic right to you then, I guess, Chris. Lap traffic, ever a problem over here at Long Beach? Ever a challenge to work through? How did you guys get that 111 Cadillac up and in towards victory lane?
Mainly I needed to follow what the leaders did, and like not doing any too opportunistic moves, and just like use the pressure of our little truck seat to disturb the cars that we were following.
Well, we went from the longest race to the shortest race. You hoist the trophy up at the shortest race of the season. It's the second race of the season, or the second longest race of the season, when we go racing next in March for the 12 Hours of Sebring. I'll start with you, Christoph, and then I'll ask you the same question, Matthew. What do you guys both think will be the goal for that HEC Racing 111?
Oh, Sebring will be the same goal for Daytona. It's being at the top and staying at the top until the final hour, and we go all in.
And Christoph? Sorry, and Matthew, sorry.
Oh yeah, I'll need to do some work for Sebring. I know I did some testing, and I'll need to improve a little bit to keep up with Chris. But I'm looking forward to it.
Well, thank you both for taking the time to join us up here. Congratulations on a very hard-fought race win here tonight at Long Beach. Congratulations once again, and we will see you then in March at Sebring.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That's Christoph DeMay along with Matthew Rutten, both taking it home in the GTP win. We'll now look down to LMP2, where Josh Gallen will be joining us up here in the broadcast booth. And, well, Josh, for you, again, a pretty wild night for the Gowan Racing crew, but another absolutely phenomenal finish. You come home with another win in LMP2, and this time gaining the second most spots on the day, plus 42 overall. Walk us through it, because it was a wild ride.
Yeah, no, and what a race! It feels like we won the lottery more than we went racing. So much chance, so many rolls of the dice out there, so many close calls. Qualifying didn't go our way. Jack just kept nicking the wall, and then on the final lap, trying to set a safe one, he it didn't quite work out. So we started from the pit lane, unfortunately, but I think it worked out, right? It kept us out of the fight, and or at least the beginning of the race when there was heavy attrition in the LMP2 class. A lot of the competitors, the folks that we have pegged as our competitors for the season in the class, kind of got caught up in accidents, and we just we're able to close back up in the field during that emergency full course yellow at the beginning. I think we were from starting in the pit lane, we were up to 5th by that point, and then a couple more incidents with other folks and we just whittled our way up to 1st. I think we probably made 2 on-track passes the whole race, so it's not the race that as a team we're gonna go home and feel like we really earned this one, but we kept the car clean. The restart at the end was a little treacherous with cold tires and 2nd and 3rd right behind me, but I just tried to stay, keep it clean, hit my line and bring it home.
Overall, I mean, we talked a lot at Daytona about how much strategy had a big hand to play, but the strategy in some ways could even be even more difficult when you get to the sprint races like this. Obviously, you have very strict drive time requirements to contend with. So when you get that first safety car at the 20-minute mark in, how does that shake up your strategy to try to make sure you can still potentially benefit from it, but also make sure you can meet those drive times?
Yeah, so in our class, for this race length, it's 25-minute minimum drive time. So I think that the emergency full course yellow was probably right before that mark. It was quite early, so I was talking to Jack at the time and saying, hey, I don't think it makes sense to pit now. We'll ride this out. Also, with that full course yellow, pits remain closed, right? So you're risking getting a drive-through if you pit in that instance. For us, our strategy is keep it as simple as possible, minimize the risk of being caught out by a safety car with low fuel, and swap drivers at the point that makes the most sense. Everybody in our team is around the same pace, so we have a huge advantage when it comes to not having a super fast guy that can start the race or finish the race. We all are roughly around the same spot. So for us, it's just hey, okay, this is a good time to swap. Let's swap. There's no bickering over trying to get someone to drive the most or least or anything like that. So yeah.
Looking forward to the 12 Hours of Sebring coming on up on March 23rd. Another long race, but not as big of a challenge, I'd imagine, as Daytona itself, not having to go for the full 24. What's going to be the game plan for that number 18 car? Do you think you can go for the hat trick?
I hope so. Sebring's a strong track for us. It's the first endurance race that we did as a team about 4 years ago now, and we podiumed there. So I'm hoping to at least hit that. But yeah, I think a hat trick is attainable. This is a great class. The LMP2 field has been really competitive. I'm really excited to see what happens over another longer format race.
Well, we'll see if that Gowan racing car will be talking to us for a 3rd time at the end of the 12 Hours of Sebring 1 month from now. Congratulations again on going back to back. It's looking like it'll be a strong season to come.
Thanks, Nolan.
Josh Gowan out of Wilmington, North Carolina, joining us up here from North Carolina as he is going to be taking it home. And now we will move on to the first place runners in your GT Pro category. It is, of course, Kevin Mueller joining us up here in the broadcast booth. Arnold not able to join us up here tonight to this one, but, well, Kevin, you come home, you take the GT Pro race win. It's Audi's first win on the calendar, at least in 2024. Walk us through it, because for GT Pro, it seemed like it was almost a bit of a walk-off for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we practiced a lot, and I think we saw that we had a good pace. But then to bring it on here today was kind of hard. But we snatched pole, so we had just to go to survive turn 1, I guess, which we did, and from there it was kind of smooth sailing. I clipped the wall a bit, so we had damage after like lap 2 or 3, I guess, but it wasn't a lot, so we could keep on going. And then, yeah, we just managed the traffic immensely well, I think, and managed to get a gap. What was then a bit reduced again, but yeah, we didn't look back, I guess.
The big order of the day, of course, was a lot of the LMP2 and GTP cars having a lot of their own struggles, and oftentimes collecting up other GT cars in both Pro and AM classes. You finished this race 11th overall, well in front of over half of the LMP2 field. In fact, in front of 4th in LMP2, and only 4 cars overtaken in GTP as well. How does having those incidents kind of shake up the race, pan out to the strategy as a whole, and how does it impact that mentality?
I mean, to be fair, it was clear from the beginning that it would be kind of a lot of carnage because the track is so tight. So we knew that we would just need to be extra cautious when we get lapped. And yeah, we had the luck that in the first full course yellow we were kind of the only GT3, I guess, that wasn't lapped. So we were still in the lead lap after like 40 minutes or so. And then we could just stay out of trouble, I guess. Drive our own pace quite well. We had a bit of luck kind of always with the traffic. Like we had it never in a really bad spot, so I guess that helped a lot. But then we were really scared at the second full course yellow because of the driving time of John. He was still required to drive 25 minutes, and I guess it was like 26 minutes that he did, so it was really tight there.
Looking forward still in towards March. It's another endurance race, right? 12 hours around the Sunshine State once more as we go back into Florida for Sebring. Sebring's a very difficult track, and I know these Audis, they don't tend to like bumps all that much. What's going to be the game plan to see if that car will survive another 12 hours and potentially be back on top?
First, I guess, since we had a shocking race in Daytona where we didn't even finish, I think the first goal is primarily to survive and then build from there, I guess.
Well, fair enough. We'll see if that car will survive this time. I've got faith in you all. You've survived one of the most chaotic field races, no doubt, of the season, and we'll see if you'll be back onto the top step when we go racing on March 23rd. That's Kevin Mueller joining us up here in the broadcast booth from GT Pro. That will take us down to Lucas Santos, the final driver, and it is once again another Screechy Moose Motorsports victory. Going back-to-back here, Philip Forrester joins us up here now, and I tell you what, Philip, I mean, again, what a wild race for you guys. You were kind of up and down all throughout the course of the night, but overall, you end up on the top. Walk us through the story.
Yeah, so hi, this is actually Lucas.
Oh.
It's all good, don't worry. But yeah, the entire race, the main thing that we're going for when it came to Long Beach was, of course, survival, as many people do for endurance racing. But it's a mixture of being friendly with the walls, but also keeping your car intact. So there's been some feeling in the car as we've been training, like it's really hot here. It makes your tires like burst with heat. So the one thing that we were trying to maintain was tire temperatures, especially with these yellow flags. It made the tires really cold all of a sudden, actually colder than what we expected. So as soon as we hit the restarts, we needed those tires to be fired up as soon as the next lap, if anything. And it took them a while. But overall, as a team, we stuck to our strategy, even if it we saw other people start undercutting, overcutting, and it's the belief in our strategy. We stuck to it. We had a game plan, and it resulted into this win. So couldn't been prouder of this team. The number 5 Operation Motorsports Mercedes. This is amazing. This is awesome.
It was this time, I think, a race win that came, I think, a little easier, I'm going to dare to say. You didn't have any damage or any front clips missing this time to have to contend with throughout the course of the race, but sprint races, they are still just as if not more chaotic than all the endurance races because of how much less time there is. It's a lot more aggression on the racetrack. How did you guys manage to get through all of that and mitigate your own enough that you didn't find yourself up in a barrier like so many others did tonight?
Absolutely. So we came last year here with the mindset of the same thing, not trying to die throughout these corners and making sure that we can navigate through any scenario. So last year we trained with AI. This year we focused more on, we knew what to do in case of an accident. So this time we focused on just knowing about how we're feeling with the car and whatnot. And it was great help with the live spotters and crew chief of McKenna and David Dean. It was amazing the way we communicated throughout each one, whether it was an actual full course yellow or a yellow flag, where it's all eyes open and making sure that we can get through the accident as clean as possible. We always knew that we had a gap to spare in case there was an incident. So the stress was kind of low in case we needed to slow down further than we need to. And in addition to that, it's, again, I'll go back to it, the confidence in the car. We know what the car was going to be doing at the time. So if there was supposed to be a quick change in direction to avoid an accident, it was able to do that on the spot, even if they had some hot tires on it. So it's the communication, knowing what we had to do from last year to improve, and just overall being in a great experience.
And we look forward now towards the next race of the season. It's a little ways off. It is, of course, March 23rd for the 12 Hours of Sebring. We've asked everybody else what their opinions are on the upcoming endurance race for the second longest event on the calendar. What's going to be the game plan, though, to see if you guys can't go for 3?
So the game plan for possibly going for 3 is to learn what we did last year. We've done some debriefs a lot over the past year, essentially. Every race that we've always had a debrief of what went well, what could have we done differently, and made sure that what we bring to the table next time is either a fix or a learning experience. So going into Sebring, we all know that there's going to be an update coming soon. So we got to get ready for that. Whatever happens with the car, we must update it to the best of our ability to make sure we're ready for any scenario, such as accidents. And going into Sebring, we know that 1, it's going to be bumpy, so setup's going to be like that. And 2, the attrition rate's going to be much higher. Or if anything, there's going to be a lot more mental grain because of how twisty it is. And in addition to that, with all the multi-class action here, Long Beach is bad enough anyways for multi-class. But Sebring, even though it's wide, there's still going to be some twists and turns to get the prototypes along the way. So going into Sebring, it's a matter of, are we confident in the car? Are we having the game plans that we want to set and make sure the drivers are always up to date with what the car feels like, what our expectations are, and having the mental strain ready for.
Well, you guys have proven that you can definitely take that top step on both the longest and the shortest races. We'll see if you'll follow it up for one that's right in the middle. We'll see you then next time we go racing in March back in Florida.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for this. Thank you.
Lucas Santos for Screechy Moose Motorsports joining us up here in Victory Lane. And, well, that is going to be about it then for us here on Green Flag TV. Again, an absolutely incredible race all around tonight. Nothing short of non-stop entertainment from start to finish, as it so often is. When we go racing next at VSCA, it will be for the 12 Hours of Sebring on March 23rd. And it is a full week of racing coming on up this next week, as we are going to be having ourselves with racing every single night, save for Monday. OMSRL on Tuesdays, Beer Leagues on Wednesdays, Speed on Thursdays, LTAC on Fridays. The TNGG IEL Truck Series kicks off their racing season next Saturday as well on the 24th at Daytona. And then ASRL returns on Sunday to close out February. You can join us all on Green Flag TV for every one of those races. If you want to find out who we are and what we do, you can visit us online at www.greenflagtv.com to see what we can offer you. That's all for me for now here at the Long Beach Street Circuit. Thank you so much for joining us for another excellent race of the VSCA Sports Car Championship. We'll see you all in a month in Florida.